So you have found it, a massive plot of land in Dubai, and the price feels like a steal. You're already picturing a sprawling villa and the infinity pool, the huge garden for your kids. But hold on, what if I told you that the dream plot could be a massive financial trap? What if it's actually the biggest selling point? Its sheer size is actually the cleverly disguised flaw that could make your investment practically worthless. My name is Saliq and I'm in Dubai real estate and construction for the last 13 years. And many times I receive these panic calls where people buy a huge piece of land, fall in love with the size on paper, but when they call me, they realize that their dream home is literally impossible to build. They ignore the one thing that truly defines the plot value, its shape and usability. And in a buzzing market where luxury villa prices in places like Palm, Dubai Hills, Emirates Hills, Jumeirah Island are soaring, a mistake at the start can be devastating. Today I'm going to show you with a real life example why a smaller, well-shaped plot can be a gold mine and why that huge, cheap plot or relatively cheap plot might be one of the worst investments that you will ever make. Here are 5 critical traps of a large plot you absolutely have to avoid. The first and the most dangerous is actually the gross versus net trap. In short, you are paying for a land, you simply cannot utilize it. When someone says that a plot is 20,000 square foot, that is the gross area. That's the number on the paper, but the number that actually matters is the utility or the net usable area. The space you can physically build on after all the rules are applied. And here is where it gets painful. In Dubai, every plot has rules from developer and the Dubai Municipality. This includes setbacks, mandatory empty spaces around the property. For example, you might have to leave 5 meters at the front, 3 meters on the side and back. Now picture your 20,000 square foot plot isn't a perfect rectangle. What if it is a triangle or a long skinny corridor? When you apply these setbacks to an odd shape, the built-up area, it shrinks dramatically. Your massive 20,000 square foot might suddenly be only a 8,000 square foot building footprint. You have just paid a premium for 12,000 square foot of a very, very expensive garden. I see this in valuations consistently. A client has a plot 30% larger than the standard neighbor plots, but its valuation is around 15% lower because the shape is horribly inefficient. So how do you fix it? Before you even think about an offer, you must demand the affection plan and understand the plot's floor to area ratio. An architect or surveyor, they can look at the plot shape and the setback rules and they can show you exactly what are you working with. You will often find that 15,000 square foot perfect rectangle plot, it gives you much bigger, more flexible home than a 20,000 square foot L-shaped mess. Shape, not size, dictates your real value. When you buy a plot, it is essentially a blank canvas for you. You have a vision for a stunning modern property, maybe a home office, but what if your dream design is completely against the rules? This is the zoning and restriction blind spots, and every single plot in Dubai is governed by strict zoning regulations. But it goes deeper. Master developers like Emaar, Nakheel, they add their own design guidelines to maintain a community's look and feel. These rules, they can dictate everything: building height, architectural style, modern, Mediterranean, Arabic, the color of those, the parapet height, and all those things. They can have a massive impact on the design that you have imagined and essentially what you can build on it. I had the luxury to learn it like with a first-hand experience where I was in a company where we used to do valuations for bank. In one instant, we were doing a valuation and we were comparing a property with 1500 square foot bigger land size on the paper than the next property. However, when we were mentioning the price on the valuation report, the price was not high for the land. And then I came to know that there is something called the land utilization. For example, if that extra 1500 square foot is not practical for you to build or extend or utilize it to the maximum, the value of that 1500 square foot will not be equal to the land value. It might be equal to 20, 30 or 40% of the actual land value that is going in that community. Few more things that you need to know while buying a plot, and which I have seen in many cases. In a ready market, when you're buying a plot, you're essentially looking at the plot before buying. So seeing is believing. But in Dubai, there are many developers, they are selling plots as off-plan projects, where you are just buying plot on the piece of paper with the dimensions, but you essentially don't know that how the master plan will look like, where are the substations and utilities going to be. For example, a DEWA or an electrical substation, it must be in the master community based on the size of the scale of the community. Similarly, you have telecom infrastructure, which is telecom, Etisalat, all those infrastructures, they must be built into that community. Now, when you are buying a plot which is off plan, you normally don't even know that where that substation or a utility pole is going to come. I'll give you a real life example in a villa segment where a client has bought a villa in a community. However, once the villa was handed over or just close to handover, they came to know that literally in front of their garage, there was a plot demarcated for a telecom site. Now imagine you have bought a $4 or $5 million property, and the moment you drive into the driveway, you are essentially being welcomed by a telecom tower. Now the developers here, they're doing a lot of effort to make these towers look aesthetically beautiful, but at the end of the day, it's a utility plot right next to my plot. So when you are buying a villa, always try to ask and get extra clarity from the developer about the utilities of around those plots. Another part which is also, I would say, a trap is we call it the comparable sales fallacy. This trap is most devious because it messes with your perception of value. It is the fallacy of overpaying because you're looking at the wrong numbers. You see other plots sold nearby, calculate a price per square foot and think you're getting a bargain. You're comparing apple to sand. Paying based on gross area for an inefficient plot is like paying for 2-liter bottles of water that's half full of rocks. You are paying for volume that you can't use. This is one of the biggest and most expensive mistakes you can make while being sold on a larger plot. The solution is always think like a valuer. Your price should be based on the usable square footage, and this is where you need an independent agent who understands this, who can analyze the plot shape, setback, rules, and also to find its true usable area and then find genuine comparable sales. Never ever accept a seller's math at a face value. So before you fall in love with that huge plot again for a lower price, remember to look past the headline numbers, the gross versus net trap, excess illusions, hidden utilities, and also the regulations for development, and then last but not least, the false valuations. They are all waiting for buyers who don't do their homework. If you're looking at land in Dubai and want to make sure you avoid these traps, click the link below in the description and reach out to me to book a one-to-one consultation if you're looking to buy a plot and develop it. I will walk you through everything that I have spoken today, and also I can help you analyze that plot or investment in detail. Thank you very much for watching.